You were born in South Texas, but the first time you crossed into Mexico for business, you knew your life would never be normal again. You didn't cross for family. You didn't cross for vacation. You crossed because someone powerful wanted to see you. And when powerful men want to see you, you don't say no. Border towns teach you things early. You grow up seeing two worlds. One struggling, one operating in silence. Brand new trucks with no plates. Ranches nobody talks about. Men who never raise their voices, but everybody listens. You grew up broke. Mom working non-stop. Bills stacking up. Lights off more than once. By 16, you told yourself, I'd rather be feared than forgotten. You started small, flipping weed at school, moving electronics, hustling whatever made fast cash. And then, they noticed you. It happened at a party, music loud, backyard packed. Two older men stepped outside with you. They knew your numbers, knew your supplier, knew your home address. They didn't threaten you. They invited you. Stop thinking local. A week later, they told you to bring your passport. You drove south, heart pounding. Crossing into Mexico felt different when it wasn't for shopping. On the other side, you were picked up. Black SUV, no plates. They drove you deep into ranchland. No cell service, no street lights. That's where you met him, the plaza boss. Calm, quiet, calculated. He studied you before speaking. You're American, he said. You're educated. You can move differently. That's when you realized they didn't want muscle. They wanted strategy. Your first real job wasn't violence. It was logistics, organizing routes, coordinating drivers, managing safe locations. Because you understood both sides of the border, English and Spanish, American highways and Mexican backroads, you became the bridge, and bridges are powerful. Soon, you were traveling back and forth regularly, Texas to Mexico, Mexico back to Texas, not as a runner, as a supervisor. You started sitting in higher-level meetings, watching how decisions were made, watching how power moves silently, and every time you proved yourself, you got closer to the inner circle. Money wasn't counted anymore. It was weighed. You weren't worried about bills. You were worried about loyalty. Other members started whispering, he's rising too fast. He's not from here. He's too visible. But the boss trusted you. And in that world, trust from the top protects you. Until it doesn't. It wasn't a gunfight. It wasn't a rival. It was a camera. A club night in Texas. VIP section. Bottles. Flashing lights. Someone across the room wasn't partying. They were documenting. Federal agents had been watching border movements for months. Phones. Vehicles. Crossing patterns. And your name started appearing more often. Too often. Raids started. Drivers arrested. Properties seized. Phones going dark. In Mexico, people started asking questions. In Texas, sealed indictments were being prepared. You realized something chilling. You were powerful, but you were also traceable. And once governments coordinate across borders, there's nowhere to hide. The feds weren't your only threat. Internal politics shifted. When pressure rises, organizations look for someone to blame. You were American. You crossed frequently. You were visible. That made you valuable, but also disposable. And that's when you finally understood. There are only 3 endings in that life: prison, death, or betrayal. You crossed the border chasing power. You rose through the ranks chasing respect. But the higher you climb in that world, the harder the fall. And by the time you realize that, it's already too